example 3 on evaluating simple integrals. We're still starting with simpler ones, and then as we learn these simpler ones, then we will try to learn more complicated and more challenging one, which require a lot of steps and or maybe combination of different concepts. So guys, this is a ratio of two polynomials. Okay, so again, the idea is to use the power rule or other rules that we have learned so far to try to evaluate this integral. So what we can do here is we can break this into two pieces. So let us start doing that, and then we'll see how we can simplify further and then use the power rule. Because directly we cannot use the power rule. It has to be in a form of x to the power n, right? So yes, by itself, each one of them is in that form, but we have to have them individually in that form, okay? Not as a quotient, not as a product. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to break this down. So we can write this as, or rewrite this as x to the power. So there's two terms and they're both divided by this. So we can break this as x divided by x to the power 5/4. That would be my first term. And let me already distribute that dx as well. And then there's a plus integral of 2x to the power 3/4 divided by same thing, x to the power 5/4, because that divides both of them. Okay. And why are we doing this? We are doing it so that we can have these two in the form x to the power n, so that we can then use the power rule and evaluate the integral. That is the reason why we are doing all this. So let us simplify this, guys. There's an invisible one here. We know if we are dividing these and they have the same base, what happens to the powers? We just subtract. The powers are subtracted. So it is going to be 1 minus 5/4. And we have to do that. Again, we have to do that before we start using the power rule. Guys, in this case, we already know what we do with the constants when they are multiplied, and we are trying to find the integral of the function. So we just take them outside the integral. So you just take it outside, and then inside we have x, the same bases. So again, we do the same thing with the exponents. We just subtract them. So it's going to be 3/4 minus 5/4, and then of course there's a dx. Let us simplify this. So it's going to be x to the power 1 minus 5/4 is going to be, you got to have a common denominator, so it's going to be negative 1/4 dx. I expect you to do that on your own. And 2 goes outside, then there's x to the power, well, they have the same denominators, 4, so 3 minus 5 is negative 2/4 dx, right? So that is the first few steps. Now we have each one of them in the form x to the power n. X to the power n here and x to the power here and here as well. But here, guys, negative 2/4, we can still simplify that. Negative 2/4 is negative 1/2. So I will take it up right here. So we have integral of x to the power negative 1/4 dx and plus 2 times integral of x to the power. So if you simplify this, this becomes negative 1/2 and then dx. Let us see what does this simplify to. Using the power rule, this is x to the power negative 1/4, sorry, negative 1/4 plus 1 n plus 1, and we've got to divide by the same thing, n plus 1, negative 1/4 plus 1. That takes care of the first integral, plus 2 times, guys, x to the power, 2 stays, x to the power n plus 1. N is negative 1/2 plus 1. Negative 1/2 plus 1 upstairs, same thing downstairs as well. Okay. Now let us simplify further. So it's going to be x to the power negative 1/4 plus 1 is going to be 3/4, and same thing downstairs, 3/4, plus x to the power negative 1/2 plus 1 is going to be 1/2, and 1/2 downstairs as well. Don't forget the 2. There is a plus 2. Okay. Simplifying further, one last step. This 3/4, when we get rid of this division, it's going to reciprocate, so it's going to be 4/3 times x to the power 3/4, and then plus this 1/2 will reciprocate, it will become 2/1, but 2 times 2 will become 4, so it is plus 4 x to the power 1/2, and please don't forget the constant of integration c. This right here is my the integral of this this quotient, this ratio. Okay, So it was a little more work than the previous examples that we learned in as example 2 and example 1, but the steps are all written clearly here, guys. You have to follow the steps carefully, and you have to write out all the steps carefully. Of course, while doing these examples, it will take you more space if you're working on your notebooks, but guys, one has to write all the steps so that one does not make any mistakes here, and use the power rule, use any of the formulas that you need to use carefully as well. Look at the formula sheet, or try to remember some of them, or you have a textbook. If you're using a textbook while you're working on it, just look at the formulas carefully and then use them, apply them, and follow through step by step, and you should be able to get the right integrals. Okay, so guys, this was example 3. I will see you next time with more examples. Till then, guys, take care, and keep